experience it. It's gonna, you're out in the middle of the street, suddenly there's a cloud coming down, and the water's raining down on it. All you can do is experience it. So when Krishna is there, if we just become receptive to experience it, then we'll experience it. And if we think, well, that's not possible, how can I experience the holy name? I'm not so advanced, and in order to do that, you have to become a pure devotee, and I'm still have, what we're really saying is that, my dear Lord, if I actually become ecstatic hearing the holy name, it means that you're actually there, and that you're actually God, and that's going to interfere with all my plans. So you couldn't be there in the holy name, and I couldn't experience it. So we have a deal. I'll chant my rounds, and you can give me everything I need to go on with my material life. And whenever I need you, you'll be there for me, right? But not too often. Yes.
Maharaj, just to clarify, would you suggest that first chant and reach a stage where you're very steady in being able to focus on hearing the holy name, and then only after you've got that steady, then cry out to Krishna?
No, nothing like that. No, I think first our first business is to cry out to Krishna, but not cry out in the mood of, Krishna, I'm suffering, help me. Don't you see I'm suffering? What's wrong with you anyhow? I got to shout loud, help me, help me. No, Krishna's perfectly aware of what's happening to us, because he's the one who's causing the whole thing. No, we have to listen to our chanting and see how we can make it better. What that means may be different things, but it definitely means more or less in the mode of goodness. Even if it only means Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone knows how to improve their chantings to make it a little bit less stressful and happy. We have some idea. But it's not that it's all going to depend upon my chanting happily, for instance. Because how happy can we actually become in our present state of conditioned experience? It's not possible. We're suffering, actually. Material existence means suffering. So there's a limit. We can chant happily, but all right. But then if we chant happily, and we become receptive to listen to ourselves chanting happily or others, then the result is if we actually feel Krishna's presence, then we'll actually become happy. Then we'll learn how to actually chant a little happier. So it's a progression.
I find it difficult to hear the holy name and pray to be engaged in service.
We're not doing that. We can't do two things at one time. Ekadra, one point of attention. We chant very nicely and listen. First of all, we're not the chanters. Not to get too philosophical, but we're actually not chanting. We're simply the instrument. We're trying to become an instrument. We are all spiritual beings, and there's a system that Krishna has arranged by which we're able to desire, and there's a feedback mechanism called intelligence by which we can see the results of our desire. We experience it. We get some idea of what's happening. So we, as instruments of Krishna, we try to chant nicer, and we try to listen nicely.
What does it mean to chant nicely? You mean a proper pronunciation?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But this is the nicest thing I could possibly do. I don't need anything else. Prabhupada writes in the Nectar Devotion, when a young boy meets a young girl, he doesn't have to figure out, how do I become attracted to her? And when I am attracted, how am I supposed to act? No, it's natural. So we just chant as nicely as we know. But even this chanting very nicely, Hare Krishna, but then we have to be receptive. We have to let Krishna be there.
So just chant nicely and listen.
Yeah, it's not that we have anything else that's better. There's not going to be any opportunity better than right now, right at this moment, to associate with Krishna. Not the next week when, we have our Japa retreat, then I'll chant the holy name. For next year, when I get my second initiation, then I can chant. But no, at every moment we have an opportunity, and we just have to take advantage of it. Try to chant as nicely as we can, and then try to become as receptive as possible to the holy name. And even there's so many thoughts and desires that come and distract us, Krishna says, just bring them, start again, try again, and again, and again. Shanai Shanara, Yito Yito Nischalati, Manapchanchalam Astira, Yataskito Niyam Yacha, Atmanyevanam Shamya. Wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one should withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Because in the course of our devotional service, gradually there will be realizations. And those realizations will be how everyone is actually Krishna's eternal servant, how we should live in the mode of goodness. There will be so many realizations, so that every day we go back and chant. We won't chant falling asleep because we ate too much the night before, or we went to sleep late, or, so many or I read the wrong things, and therefore my mind's bewildered, and I got to struggle now, or I got into a fight with my roommate. No, as we get some realization in our life, we're living our lives during the day in such a way that when we chant japa, however many rounds we're chanting, then we're prepared to chant japa in this devotional mood. It's not like, I remember I used to go on book distribution. I was the temple president it was when I was in Houston, Texas. I had a whole temple, because that was all we did all day long, was distribute books. There was nothing else to do. I had one devotee in my temple, he refused to go out. And he showed me a letter that Prabhupada had written to him, and it said that he was a sincere boy. So he said, I'm a sincere boy, Prabhupada said it. You can't tell him, I'm not going to go out. So there's nothing I could tell him. The only service he wanted to do was stay back at the temple and cook all different types of mahaprasada. We didn't have any deities, by the way. Cook all kinds of mahaprasada and eat it. And when I told him that, this is not correct, Prabhupada wouldn't want us. He said, no, Prabhupada said I was sincere, and he showed me the letter again. And I wasn't very patient, so I get quite, sometimes I get angry. People don't notice it, but I get quite angry and disturbed. I was thinking, all right, Prabhupada says you're sincere, but I don't think you are. But somehow or another I couldn't figure out how to do that. So I go out and book distribute, and I'd be all disturbed. And I distributed books for a while, and then my mind would become peaceful, and by the time I come back to the temple, he'd be finished with his mahaprasada. So this went on for some time. Krishna made some arrangements, so although he undoubtedly was sincere in some ways, but he wasn't that sincere. Yes.
Can you explain